Okay, so this video we're looking at writing down the nth term for a sequence again, but this time you can see it's involving fractions. So a little bit trickier, but really it isn't too tricky. So let's get straight into it. We'll go through two examples and you can try two yourself, and that's going to be it for this video. So the first one, write down the nth term for the sequence below. And you've got fractions here, but the way you look at this is you find the nth term of the top sequence, and then you find the nth term of the bottom sequence, and then you just write it as a fraction. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just go and consider the first sequence first. So 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, let's write it down over here so we can see what's going on. So we've got the first sequence, the top one, which is 1, 3, 5, and then 7. Okay, so on and so forth. So we're just considering this top sequence, which we can do from the previous video. Okay, because we're looking for that common difference, and we can see where we're going up by +2 from term to term. So we're going up by +2, and then going up by +2, and then going up by +2. So we know to show a +2 increase, we write that in terms of n as 2n, which is just your 2 times table, which is 2, 4, 6, and then 8, so on and so forth. But the sequence we want is not 2, 4, 6, 8, it is 1, 3, 5, 7. So to get from 2 to 1, we take away 1, so on and so forth. So here we've got to go and subtract 1 from each of our terms. Therefore, the nth term of the top sequence, 1, 3, 5, 7, is going to be 2n, take away 1. So 2n subtract 1. So that's kind of like the top part of the first sequence. We've then got the bottom sequence, and let's do that in a different colour. Let's go and do that one in this blue colour, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, and let's write it down here. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. Not written particularly well. Let's write that again. We need to 2, 4, 6, and then 8. And this sequence here, 2, 4, 6, 8, we're increasing by +2 from term to term, +2, and then +2. Okay, and the sequence would keep going. To show a +2 increase in terms of n, we write it again, similarly to up here, just as 2n, and we know that 2n produces our 2 times table, which is 2, 4, 6, 8. And you can see, right, 2, 4, 6, 8 is exactly the sequence that I want, so the nth term of 2, 4, 6, 8 is just 2n, which makes sense, right? We know that 2n produces the 2 times table, which is just 2, 4, 6, 8. So that is your bottom part of the sequence. Therefore, your overall answer, okay, is going to be equal to the nth term is going to be, the top part is 2n take away 1, so 2n take 1 over the bottom part, which is 2n. Okay, so the top sequence, 2n take away 1, and it's a fraction, so it's going to be over the bottom part, which is 2n. And that there is our answer, and let's highlight it to make it clear. Okay, and always, right, we can check our working. Let's check it with this first one here to make sure we are correct. So let's go and do that in green to check our work. So let's go and check which terms we check. The second term, right? So 3/4, when n is equal to 2, hopefully we get 3/4. So when n is 2, we get 2 times 2, take away 1, over 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, take away 1 is 3, and it's over 2 times 2, which indeed is 4. Okay, so that is definitely what I've got, 3/4, so this is definitely correct, which is good. Okay, example 2. Let's give it a look, and let's go back to red to begin with. Again, to write down the nth term of the sequence, we just consider the top sequence, 10, 8, 6, 4, and then the bottom sequence, 1, 3, 5, 7. So let's begin by looking at the top sequence, which is 10, 8, 6, and 4. And this time we're decreasing. We're going down by 2 from term to term. So -2 decrease, -2 decrease. To show that -2 decrease in terms of nth term, we write it as -2n, which is your negative 2 times table. So -2, -4, -6, -8. If you're getting confused by this part here, definitely watch my previous video because I go through it a bit slower there. Okay, but -2n is not the sequence that I want above. I've got to go and then add on 12 to each of these numbers. -4 at 12 is 8, -6 at 12 is equal to 6. I've got to go and plus 12 onto each of my terms to get the sequence that I want. So I've got a plus 12. There we go. Good. So my nth term is going to be, for the top part of my fraction, it's going to be -2n plus 12. So -2n plus 12 is my top part of the nth term. Good. And the bottom sequence, we've got 1, 3, 5, 7, okay, which is a different sequence, so let's consider it separately, so on and so forth. And here we are increasing by +2 again, so +2, by +2, and by +2 again. A lot of +2s. It's just the way it is. Okay, and a plus 2 increase in terms of n is just going to be written as 2n, which is your 2 times table, 2, 4, 6, and then 8, so on and so forth. 2 to 1, take 1, 4 to 3, take away 1, so we've got to go and subtract 1 to get from the terms minus 2n gives to the ones we want. So take away 1, there we go. Therefore, your nth term here is going to be 2n, take 1, so 2n, take away 1, which is the bottom sequence of our question. So the nth term of the whole thing is going to be the top part, which is negative 2n plus 12. You could write it as 12, take away 2n, it doesn't matter. And that's being divided by 2n, take away 1. Okay, but you could write it as 12, take away 2n. It makes no difference, but there we go. Okay, that is your answer. So good, hopefully that's made a bit of sense. And then you can try these 2 questions here yourself. So you can pause the video, give those a go, and then fast forward to the end to see the answers. And if you get stuck, you can rewind and go through with me. Let's look at the first one. Again, nth term of the sequences. We've got 2 separate sequences because we've got a fraction. Let's consider the top part first. So let's consider this part to begin with, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a simple sequence. We're going up by plus 1 from term to term, plus 1, and then plus 1. To show a plus 1 increase in terms of n, it's going to be 1n, which you just write as n, and n is just your 1 times table. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which is exactly the sequence I want. Okay, so just 1, 2, 3, 4, it is just n. It is your most basic sequence. So n is the nth term of 1, 2, 3, 4. We've then got the sequence below, which is 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's consider this one separately. So we've got 2, 3, 4, and then 5, so on and so forth. And again, we are increasing by plus 1, by plus 1, by plus 1. So to show that plus 1 increase in terms of n, it's just going to be n, which again is your 1 times table. 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. But this time, to get from n, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, to the sequence we want, 2, 3, 4, 5, we've got a plus 1 each time. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. So I've got to go and add on 1 to each of my terms to get the sequence that I want. Okay, so my nth term is going to be n plus 1 for the bottom one, n plus 1. There we go. Good. So my nth term overall is going to be n over n plus 1, and that is my answer. That kind of question actually usually causes a bit of confusion because people often forget or kind of get stuck on how do you write this really simple sequence of just 1, 2, 3, 4. It is just n on that top part. Okay, the second one. Let's go and consider this sequence again, looking at the top first. We're going down this time. Let's write it out again here. So let's write it out as 13, 10, 7, and then 4, so on and so forth. And here we're decreasing by 3 each time, going down by 3. To show a minus 3 decrease in terms of n, it's going to be minus 3n. So it's your negative 3 times table. So minus 3, minus 6, minus 9, and then minus 12, so on and so forth. But minus 3n produces the sequence this. I want the one above, which is plus 16 bigger. So from minus 3 to 13, add 16, minus 6 to 10, I've got a plus 16. So I've got to go and add on 16 to each of my terms to get the ones that I want. Therefore, my nth term is going to be minus 3n plus 16. So minus 3n plus 16, or 16 take away 3n. Either of those means the same thing. Good. Let's now look at the bottom part of my sequence, 7, 12, 17, 22, down here. So 7, 12, 17, and then 22, so on and so forth. Well, here I'm actually increasing by plus 5, isn't it? So plus 5, and then plus 5. To show the plus 5 increase in terms of n, it's just going to be 5n, which is your 5 times table, 5, 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth. To get from 5 to 7, I had 2, 10 to 12, I add on 2, so I've got to go and add on 2 to each of my terms. So I've got to go and plus on 2. Therefore, my nth term here is going to be 5n plus 2, so 5n plus 2, and that is the nth term of the bottom sequence, this one down here. Therefore, overall, my nth term is going to be take minus 3n plus 16, or 16 take away 3n means the same thing, over 5n plus 2. And that is my answer. Okay, and of course you can always check your working. You know, let's go and check let's go and check our answer there. That's always a good thing to do. So before we finish up, let's check to our answer. So let's do that over here. So let's go and check the third term. Hopefully, when n is equal to 3, we get 7 over 17. So let's put it into our nth term. So minus 3 times 3, add on 16, over, divided by 5 times n, so 5 times n. My third term, so 5 times 3, plus 2. Minus 3 times by 3 is minus 9, add 16 is indeed 7, good. And then 5 times 3 is 15, add 2 is indeed 17, so good. It is definitely correct. Okay. If you've just gone towards the end of the video and you've got the answers correct, fantastic, well done, that's really good. If you need to rewind to go through any work, you can do, but that is it for this video. And probably that's going to be it for the nth term at the grade 4 level. Thank you.